Okay. Howdy. I'm going to
Uh,
talk to you about the Indian meal moth, or otherwise known as by its scientific name, Plodia interpunctella. The Indian meal moth eggs are laid on the actual food surfaces. So when the eggs hatch, the larvae feed on the same surfaces they are born on, not really moving too far away from their food source. They usually stay in the same food till adulthood, where they get their wings and can travel farther distances and reproduce. They are also known as pantry bugs because they usually infest foods that are stored for long periods of time, like cornmeal, flour, nuts, and dog food, and stuff like that. I believe the Indian meal moth causes the most severe infestations because of the amount of food they can infest. The most dangerous part, though, is because their eggs are so small and numerous that you can't tell if they're in the flour or any other kind of product that you're wanting to buy. That is why most Indian meal moth infestations of food usually occurs before it is bought and taken home. The female moths are very efficient, being able to lay hundreds of eggs in a matter of days. The complete life cycle can last from 30 days to 300, depending on the temperature. Basically, in colder temperatures, it takes longer for the Indian meal moth to reach adulthood. Signs of infestation can be clumps of food formed by webbing or larvae groups. In bad cases, you'll actually see moths hanging out near your food or in your pantry. It is hard to treat without professional help because the ease of these females to breed is just amazing. The best way to not get any meal moths in your house is to check your food before you buy it and make sure it is not opened or improperly sealed. The Indian meal moths infest thousands of homes each year and doesn't look like it's going to stop. That's your turn.
Hi, my name is Elijah Morrow. My topic is the cotton kush scale and an exotic plant pest in Galapagos Islands. It's been target of classical biological control program with the predatory beetle. It is a cosmopolitan plant pest and a native to Australia and possibly New Zealand, and is a known pest over the 200 different plant species. It has a high. It lives in high density populations. It's particularly damaged to native plants with restricted language ranges. The effect that it can have on rare, native, or oh, endemic plants also indirectly affect native vertebrates and invertebrates. They're dependent on those plants for food and shelter. Consequently, it is anticipated that this pest would attack plants in agriculture and urban areas in the Galapagos Islands following the successful establishment in 1982, and subsequent field observation indicated that it was likely to become an important pest in natural areas by attacking native and endemic plants with high conservation value. And the cotton scale has male and female reproductive organs and is capable of self-fertilization, which eliminates the need to mate with other individuals of the same species. As the first instar crawler has paired gonads comprised of female and male parts. In the second instar larva, the reproductive cells are divided into two groups: large diploid cells that develop in female gametes, the smaller haploid cells that develop into male gametes in the third instar larva. The female part in the gonad is composed of young ovules, and the male part consists of testis follicles. So I have a question for you. How difficult would it be to get rid of Indian meal moth free?
Oh, that's a good question. The Indian meal moths are hard to get rid of because the only way to get rid of them is for sure is to throw out all your food. Actually, if you have an infestation, throwing out your food is going to be inevitable, even if you get professional help. That is because the chemicals used to kill the bugs would also get in your food and make your food harmful to eat. And the only way to get rid of them is to throw the source of the food out. You can tell if it's a source because the food will be all clumped up and filled with cobwebs and white worms that you see, which are actually the larvae of the Indian meal moth. And if you want to keep some goods that are not infested, you don't want to keep those, then put all of your dry goods you want to keep in the freezer for a couple days. And the cold will actually freeze kill all the bugs and eggs and everything. So you should be good to go. I have a question for you too. Uh, why do you think your species has a greater infestation and impact on human society?
Well, I feel that the cotton kush scale can severely damage trees and nursery stock. It causes fruit to drop, and defoliation results from feeding on the scale from the because the scales feed on the twigs, and they migrate to larger twigs, and the older nymphs continue to feed because they reproduce pretty fast, and because of that, they again they have added damage that can result from accumulation of sooty mold due to honeydew and excreted by the scale, and they disperse rapidly throughout their environment, which causes them to destroy plants, crop, and fruit at a much higher rate, which has a negative impact on human society because the small crawlers were readily dispersed by the wind and inter-island movement of plants by humans, probably assisted the spread of cotton cushion scale, but like 15 to 18 main islands in the form of the Galapagos, and the populations of the cotton scale are increased to damaging levels because the pest was not being exploited by the residential natural enemies, such as the ants, and the population growth was solely limited by availability of suitable host plants because they need a lot of plants to be able to feed on in order to survive. And across the islands, the high density population of this pest were restricted. They have a restricted growth, and they have possibility of killing hosts at least 62 to 16 plants that were in the. I didn't even see red list of threatened species, the plants. So,
All right. I guess we'll move to the conclusion. I believe that the Indian meal moth is worse for infestation or loss of goods because if they get in your food, you have to throw it out the whole container of food. Also, if they're able to they're also able to reproduce at alarming rates, which lets infestation spread so rapidly that it's really hard to stop. And also another thing that makes the Indian meal moth so devastating is the different types of food. There are so many different types of food that you can keep in your pantry or stored in large bins. And if Indian meal moths get in there, they can ruin all of it. They can, yeah, they get in there. The Indian meal moth infects thousands of homes and grocery stores each year, causing thousands of pounds of food to go to waste. And because of the sheer quantity of them and how fast they spread, that's why they are the worst infestation. What do you think?
well, I think for me, the cotton scale is like it's more rare and it has more natural enemies, so that puts it like up there on a pedestal to get rid of it. And plus it's responsible for suppressing a lot of populations of plants in natural areas and plants and places that host plants. And it has a suppressive effect of enemies in Australia and California, and it's been demonstrated through Cajun studies. And plus, to improve the biological control to keep ants out of trees, ensures by banding the trunks with sticky substances such as the tanglefoot, or by using ant baits to protect young and sensitive trunks, especially citrus, from possible injury from the wrapping the trunk with collar of duct tape, or you can use fabric tree wrap and coating. This was sticky material, so they can't get to your plants. And you can check the sticky material every week or two and stir it with a stick to prevent the material from becoming covered with debris, so the ants and the cotton scale can't attack your plants. So,
Sweet. We're done?
yep.
All right.